Hi guys, Ford Mustang door cards. I'm going to be covering these door cards in black leather. The leather's going to match the leather that I've put on the dash top. So unlike most door cards, where this whole part of the door has a card on it that pulls off and then there's an insert panel inside that is removable. This isn't like that. It's only this part here that is removable. The rest, all the black area that you see, is part of the door. So it's just got a black textured paint on it to simulate leather. So I'm going to have to put the leather on while the door is still attached to the car. I'm not going to remove the door, it's too much like hard work. So obviously, because this is a painted surface, I have to prepare the surface just like if you was going to paint it. Do the same with the glue, give it a rub down, wipe it over with acetone, and then I can start to glue the leather. So I'll remove this panel first, and then I'll do all the prep, and then I'll start to glue the leather on. Now, I've not made these door panels. They've been made by the company that's fitting the stereo. They're made from MDF. If you've seen some of my videos before on door cards, you know that I don't like MDF. I generally don't use it. It's weak, especially things like this. It bends a lot, doesn't like water. So I use 3.6mm ply and not this cheap MDF. It's all right for other things. We're using thicker MDF, but this really thin MDF, I'll show you in a minute, is so flexible. And if it gets any moisture on it, then it's gonna expand and become a funny shape. So that's off. So that's everything off the card that I can take off. I'm going to leave the rubber on. All I've done is I've eased the rubber away where it's glued around this edge here. I'm going to tuck the leather into this recess. So I've just pulled it away here where I need to wrap the leather inside there around this corner. And I've done the same at this end here. So I'm going to give it a rub down with a Scotch pad and just wipe it over with acetone before I start to glue it. I'm not sure you can see the paint finish on this, the texture of it. So now it's just a case of rubbing down. So as you can see, it's not a very thick layer of paint either. You see the orange coming through. And just be very careful where I put this acetone because we'll remove paint. Not careful. So that's the prep on the door cards done. I need to wash my hands because they're a bit dirty before I start touching the leather. I don't want to get the leather full of all these bits of paint I've took off. And I'll wind the window up first as well before I go any further. And now I can start to attach the leather once I've washed my hands. So I've just put this piece of mylar here just to stop any glue getting onto the felt strip that is behind here. I want to glue right up to the edge of the felt strip. So I'm going to tuck the leather in behind it I'm only going to glue up to that point though, and slide it along. So I've already glued the leather, it's on the bench. I'm going to bring it over now. I'm not going to put any pressure on it at all, I'm just gently laying it on top, just to make sure it's in the right position. Just want the edge of the leather just to touch the glass. Right. Happy with where it sits. Now I can apply a little bit of pressure. So the leather's been thinned at this point here just to help me stretch it around this corner, and also here along this edge just to allow me to tuck it in behind the quarter light frame. I'm just working downwards and giving it a little bit of tension, I'm not pulling tight. I can apply a bit more pressure now that it's on. Now that I've done that, I want to wind the window down. Just so I can get the trim tool in and I find the edge of where the felt strip is. I'm just marking it really more than anything else. Now that I've done that bit, I'm going to glue down this edge here, probably just to about there, and then do the bottom bit afterwards. I'm just going to bend the rubber back a little bit just to get some glue behind it. Don't want to get any glue on the rubber, but I will do. I'm just using my fingers to help me not do. Just putting a bit of tension on it, not too much. I'm going to stretch this around the corner. Any wrinkles that I get, I want to put as far underneath the door as possible, because not going to be seen there. Just easing it in to the edge of the rubber. Again, make sure the leather's clean and not full of bits from the floor. I'm going to spray the last bit now. I will spray it underneath the door once I've got this bit of leather on. So I have a little bit of an issue that I don't like here in this corner, so I'll see what I can do about it. So I probably overstretched this corner here, which made it a little bit out of square. So I'm now going to trim the excess leather here. So I'm going to use this part of the rubber here where it changes shape as a guide. That's how much I'm going to trim off. I'm not going to go too far. To pull the rubber back. And then tuck in the excess leather. Well, this is why I pulled the rubber back in the first place, and I tried to get lube behind it. I'm just trimming any excess off here that I need to, which is not a lot, and the rest can get tucked inside that felt strip. Now this is just forming a line I can work to. Pull the excess out from here. So I'm using one tool just to bend the felt strip back and the other tool to tuck in. Just pushing the felt strip back in a little bit. So this part of the leather's been thinned because the gap down here is very tight. There we go, that's in. I'm going to trim off this bit here because the rubber covers that, so I don't need all that. So these little studs here, I'm not sure you can see that, they go in a hole here, so I'm going to stick a hole in using my trusty awl. There's the hole. So if you ever need to put a hole in something, don't cut around the hole. I've seen people do that. They cut a little square around the hole and they end up cutting it too big and you can see what's behind it. Whereas if you do it like that, then you're only going to be making a hole in the hole. There we go. That's fine there. And off all this excess, I don't need all this. So it needs to have holes put in here where the door card fixings are, or the insert panel. So the same, I'm just going to use a slightly bigger one this time and stick my hole in. What I will do first is wind the window up. I don't want to punch through to the glass and break the glass. Feel behind where the holes are. So all I need to do now is this corner here. So it's a similar thing. Tuck what I need to behind the rubber and then trim off the rest. And reattach this rubber here on this quarter. Put the little cover here. There's a cover that goes over the top here. I need to put that on. And the cover that goes on the end here as well. So I'll do that bit first. Always use manual screwdrivers for things like this. I don't want to slip with a drill, electric screwdriver and damage the paintwork. So I clean any glue off the rubbers that I need to with a bit of white spirits. I think you Americans call it mineral spirits. So I'll get on with this bottom quarter here. You'll not be able to see what I'm doing because all you'll see is my back. So I'll leave the filming for now and I'll see you again when I do the panel here. Not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. So I think it will have some orange stitching on it somewhere. Obviously, I'm not sure you can see the dash pad here. That's got that's top stitched in orange. Like I say, if you want to see the video of that, I'll leave a link in the description for that. I will finish this bit off and I'll see you in a bit when I come to do the insert panels. So now I need to stitch these up and attach them to the cards. So I've done all the sewing now on the fabric to put on the door cards, and it's ready to be attached to the door card. Before I do that, I'm just going to have a little bit of a rant about 3mm MDF. Now, I've not made these cards. The company that I've installed the stereo system have made these cards, and they've used 3mm MDF. Why the fuck anyone in their right minds would use the worst thing on the planet to make door cards with? Yeah, it's terrible. I would never use it personally. If this card didn't have this here for the speaker on it, I would throw this in the bin, and I would cut a new one from 3.6mm ply. But because of this, I've got to cover it, which I don't like doing. I'll tell you why I don't like MDF. Number one, it's very unstable. It's got no structure to it whatsoever. I mean, cardboard is more stable than this. Number two, it doesn't like moisture one little bit. Most classic cars are not very watertight. The water runs down the back of the glass, gets inside the door skin, and MDF doesn't like moisture. It doesn't have to be direct water on the card, but any kind of moisture in the air for long periods, the MDF will absorb that moisture like a sponge, and then it becomes very misshapen. The dust that it gives off when you cut it or sand it is awful. It's very fine dust, and it gets into your lungs, so you need to use the appropriate PPE when dealing with it. I think some countries it's banned because of the chemical that's in it that bonds it all together is carcinogenic. So yeah, I can't think of any good reason to use it really. I don't know why people do. If you use 3mm MDF for door cards on a regular basis, please leave a comment and let me know why, because I've got no idea. I'm baffled why people would use it. Doesn't take staples very well. You've got to put a lot more in. Yeah, the thicker stuff is probably better. I mean, I don't use MDF as a general rule anyway in most things that I do, just because I don't like it. It's not a nice thing to work with, in my opinion. The dust is awful. Just let me know why you use it above 3.6mm ply. It's probably cheaper. I don't know how much 3mm MDF costs compared to 3.6mm ply. I know I bought a sheet of 3.6mm ply last week, and it was about £30. Now plywood's gone up dramatically over the last couple of years. It used to be about £13 a sheet. Now it's nearly 30 quid a sheet. I think it wasn't cheap, but most things in life, buy cheap, buy twice. You do get what you pay for, and you buy cheap products, you get a cheap finish. Why anyone would go to the trouble of, I mean, making a cover to go on this, putting time and effort into it, spending money on fabric, or spending money on someone like me to do the job, and then using this shit to go underneath it all. It's like building a house on jelly. It isn't going to stay up very well. It's going to fall down eventually, and this is going to be the same. It's going to, over time, become misshapen. And yeah, I would never use it. So if you do, then you need to think about what you're doing, in my opinion. It's dog shit. I mean, it's only fit for the bin. I would make templates with it. That's about it. But even making a template with something this weak, over time, the template becomes, very, the edge just becomes weak and just becomes misshapen over use. It's not a good product to use, in my opinion. If you think it is, then good luck to you. I'd advise you to choose an alternative. Try plywood. Or if you're cutting costs and trying to make more money that way, then good luck to you. You don't keep business that way. People all the time will realise that you're selling an inferior product, but if that's how you make money, then that's how you make money. but I'd rather spend that little bit more money on a better product in the first place and give the customer a better finish and a product that'll last a lot longer. Anyway, rant over. I need to put the fabric onto this door card. So before I've attached it, I've attached little bits of masking tape here where the fixings go, because I don't want the scrim foam on the back of the cover to glue down here. I don't want the fixings to be able to go underneath. So once I've sprayed it with the glue, I'll remove those bits of tape and then glue the cover down. I'm just putting a few staples just to hold it in place so it's in the right place. For now, I'm just going through the stitch line. I'm just going to put the two holes in here for the handle, put the clips in, and I can fit that onto the door. Oh, and I also need to cover that in leather. So the best thing for putting the holes in is a soldering iron. So I'll put that to one side now. So I don't know whether this is aftermarket or genuine part, but it's just plastic. A little bit of a tip: if you're putting screws back into plastic, always use a screwdriver and not a drill or a impact driver. If you use an impact driver, you potentially can crack the plastic by putting the screw in too tight, whereas with a screwdriver you can feel that you've got it in tight enough and you're not going to crack the plastic. I see quite a lot of plastics that have been cracked, and that's probably the reason. Wow, I think someone got paid by the staple for this one. I don't know if you can see that. There are a hell of a lot of staples in there. Yep, definitely got paid by the staple. So I'm now going to have to remove all those staples. Yeah, I would never put a cover straight over this. People do. I get it quite a lot where there's a cover over a cover over a cover. I think the most I've had is 4 covers to take off. And that was on a rock and roll bed in a camper van. So yeah, I never cover over anything. That's all the staples out. Wouldn't advise you to run your hand along something that you took staples out of, just in case one snaps off and you've left a little bit in. So that's the piece of leather cut. I'm going to wet that before I put it on. Just, it makes life easier getting it around these bits here if it's wet. So wetting the leather just makes it a little bit stretchier. Now, a good thing about leather is you can manipulate it with a hammer. So I'm just flattening the bulk here on the ends. There we go. Put it back together now. So I'm just using the tips of my fingers and thumbs just so I don't put too much pressure on the screw and crack the plastic. And that goes on there like that. So that will match the leather that's on the door. So it probably took me just as long to remove all the staples and the old cover as it did to cover that. So the door card is now on the car. There is one little issue that I've come across after fitting this insert panel, and it's the window winder catches here. So it's only slight, but it does catch a little bit. So it's going to be a bit of an issue going down the road. Now, apparently the owner is going to have electric motors fitted to the door for the windows anyway, so I think that'll become obsolete and it won't be an issue, hopefully. But yeah, so the door cards are done, the rear quarter panels are done, the dash top is done. I need to finish the centre console off and that will be it. I still need to fit the dash properly out, the dash pad. It's just in place at the minute just for a test fit, but I'll remove that probably on Monday, fit that properly, and I will do the centre console at the same time, and that will be the car done. I'll leave a link to the other videos, the dash top, the centre console and the rear quarters in the description. You can check them out if you want to. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again. Bye.